would become the CIO, knew there were lots of issues, knew they needed to be a lot better. Results. By the way, Bob, is this... Good morning. Welcome, everyone. We love having you here, and we love the energy that you bring. It is so great to have you back in 3D. 2D has been fine for a couple of years. 3D is amazing. So thank you for being here. We just counted it up as our 5th annual Arch Collaborative Learning Summit. We can't believe that we've made it this far and how many amazing people are in the room. I remember our summit in 2019, where I literally left saying that is the most energetic summit I have ever been to in my life. Of all the hymns and chimes and whatever meetings I've been to, there was just the most energy. Then 2020 happens, and you have to sort of create things out of the air, and in fact most things were in the air since nothing was in person, but it's really so great to be back, and thank you for those who have been here at previous Arch Collaborative events, and then those of you who are here for the first time. Welcome. So I just want to share a few things today, and first welcome the organization members that are here. We have hundreds of folks that are part of the Arch Collaborative, and then we have about I don't know if we can put those slides up, or if that, I mean, I've spent hours and hours and hours on this, so I don't want to miss this. And I know everyone's going to look to make sure their name is up here. Thank you for those who are attending. There is a good group of you who are here. I know there are many who would like to be here, but are not and cannot be. And actually, many of you that can't be here because of travel restrictions or other things are actually on virtually today. So we're also going to try to be on time, because I know if you're watching something virtually, you don't care that, look, someone needed to use the restroom or that there's a snack break. You want to like see the content. So we do have quite a few people online today, and we welcome them as well. We'd also like to welcome those IT vendors and consulting firms that are with us today. We love that you have a passion for being here to fix this issue and collaborate together. And by the way, I've actually talked to a few vendors who said, look, I bet we could get some good visibility if we were part of this. And when they say that, I don't ever have another conversation with them. This is not about visibility. This is not about, being in front of you as provider leaders. This is about collaborating to solve problems. So we're excited for those folks who are here. We're also really grateful for those of you who are presenting today and tomorrow. We're grateful to the KLAS team that has put a lot of effort into preparing all of this, and I hope we give them a standing ovation at the end of the day tomorrow, and to the presenters as well. So we can do that now, please. Thank you. You can't do the standing ovation at the beginning, but you can clap at the beginning and then the standing ovation at the end, I think is very appropriate. For those of you who have not been to an Arch Summit, the awkward thing that I do is I always talk about my family. And let me tell you why I talk about my family. At the first summit, I recognized that you were doing something very difficult, which was inviting feedback from some of your best critics, your nurses and physicians, on the work that you had done. And I could see in the faces of many of the folks we were working with sort of the trepidation of, do I dare actually ask these questions? Because A, do I really want to know? And B, they're going to expect me to do something about it once I ask the question. So I thought, how do I walk a mile in your shoes? Can I go to a hospital and kind of mingle with the clinicians in the physician lounge? What could I do? And I thought, instead, I'm going to find a group. And by the way, tell me if this description matches your physicians and my children. Find a group that you're very passionate about their success. Find a group where you have invested hours and hours and hours to make it come together, and find a group where you do not control what they're going to say. It felt like this was a fairly similar group. So what I decided to do was to do the Gale Family Parent Satisfaction Survey the first year of the Arch Collaborative, so I could know the same feeling of asking those tough questions to my tough crew. So for those of you who have been here and seen some of the results before, you're going to get the next chapter today. For those of you who are here for the first time, let me give you a quick recap. So 2019, we ask my 6 children these questions. And by the way, they're almost exactly the same as the Arch questions you ask your team. Have we done the training you need? Are you more efficient? I even ask about governance. And by the way, every year I have to explain to all 6 of them what governance is. Interestingly enough, the first time I brought up, I'm like, governance is a methodology wherewith you can actually get things changed if you want them changed. And my 9-year-old said, we can have things changed? So I realized we opened up a whole can of worms with that. But let me just show, and we want to do this in the same visual way that you see it. So the 2019 Gale family results, we were 45% on our net parenting score. And by the way, we had no context of this. I had no idea how this was going to turn out. But I'm probably like you. I looked immediately at the red zone. Like, okay, 22% frustrated. Which kids are those? What do we need to do? What caused that? So going into 2020, COVID, things actually were better. I was nervous. Like COVID, we're spending a lot of time together. This is pretty iffy. Things actually got better. And believe it or not, 2021, things even got better, 65%. And I'm thinking, we're in the 98th percentile. If we were an EHR vendor, I have no idea where we are in terms of families that exist out there. But let me show you the 2022 results. And of course, I'm a data guy. I'm seeing the trend here is really good. So I'm thinking we're going to eliminate all the frustration in 2022. And you know what happens as soon as you think you're directionally good? It moves backwards. So someone said teenagers. I have 3 teenage boys. And when you talk about up and down and whatever, there's a lot of that. And my wife said, you need to strategically decide how to do this better next time. You need to take them out to lunch to their favorite spot. Slide the survey across to them and say, how are we doing? Well, I know you can't do that with all of your physicians, but just know for us this year, we're back almost to the same score of where we started. And what should my response be to that? It could be, oh my gosh, this is a disaster, or man, I have a lot to learn still about how to do this. But the first sense I really had was, ouch. Like, is this really where we want to be? So that was kind of tough.
Whoa, hang on in there. Let me interrupt for just a second and give some real perspective, as you're doing better than you think you are. At least I think. I'm a little biased. My name's Leah. I'm the oldest kid. Favorite daughter also. And the only daughter, so that gives me some points too. But as you can see, you're doing pretty great. 67%, that's pretty good.
No, 47% not so good.
Well, that's also true. But there are some good things happening, but also a lot of changes. I was kicked off the survey for a little bit when I moved away from home. But
By the way, that was me thinking when they moved out, like parenting was kind of done. That was so ignorant, so ignorant.
I'm back on the survey, and I don't know, when I came back, the scores went down a little bit. I don't know if that means anything, but a lot of changes have happened.
So I would love your feedback today. Do you have some feedback for me that you'd like to give?
In front of 200 people, you want to hear it?
Well, it looks like we've already opened that door, so.
Okay. Well, some feedback. A lot of things have changed since I was 6 or 16. COVID happened. I moved out, and college is expensive. There's tuition, books, apartment fees, when your car breaks down in the Chick-fil-A parking lot. Not to mention, I'm navigating dating and a social life and living with social media and technology. And sometimes I need y'all to listen without giving your helpful suggestions.
But we have a lot of helpful suggestions. Like, so thinking about that, I'm just thinking you're a lot more expensive at 21 than you were at 6. And I'm not sure how that works exactly, but we do miss you at home. And mom especially, if you can picture the Gale family dinner table, 6 boys sitting around the table and my wife. And the 6 are rowdy, and sometimes she will say, I am the rowdiest of the 6. And so some dinners, she actually makes it to the end of dinner without getting up and leaving to go finish eating in her office. So we do miss you for sure at our house.
You wonder why I moved out. Just kidding. I love my family. They do a lot of great things.
Yeah, so tell me, did we do anything well? Like, I want to hear at least that first.
Well, last week, for example, my mom helped me set up my Tinder profile.
And I missed this somehow?
You were not invited to that party. But she helped me set up my profile, make it look all nice, swipe through some people. My only critical feedback is that now she's encouraging me to go out with the people I matched with, so.
Oh, so that's the helpful advice we now give, is you should go out on a date with them.
Yeah, I realized that that was the whole point of Tinder and not exactly what I want to do.
Well, just picture the alternative. You could be going out on dates with the people that I know, and I could be setting you up on blind dates.
You're going to lose 100 percentage points next year if you do that.
Well, just know that we are trying hard, and we do recognize that it takes a village to actually raise a child, and you've probably all noticed that, those of you who are working with your own physician and nurses, and those of you who are working with your own children.
I mean, you've probably felt a lot of these same growing pains as the changes that have come with your providers and clinicians you think are grown up and ready to go, fly, be free, rate you great every year, but then these challenges come up. There's COVID, there's clinician burnout, there's inflation, staffing shortages are a huge issue, and it's kind of overwhelming to figure out how to support them in that. But this is a great opportunity to be that village for each other, to learn from each other, and to collaborate today.
Well, thank you, Leah, for joining us. Let's give her a round for her courage in joining today. So 2 bottom lines I hope you get from this today. One is there is no voice that comes and says, you have arrived. As much as there is on wherever you're navigating to on your map, there is no you have arrived. There is no coasting. And the other is it takes a village to collaborate together. And I love seeing the people in this room and knowing, oh my goodness, this person, if they would connect with this person over here, some great things could happen. So I hope you find those people today. If you want to know where they are, come find me or Bob or Connor or anyone from the team and just ask, hey, who do you know that has done this thing? And let's help you collaborate together. So I want to just take 2 minutes and share 3 parenting ideas that hopefully can apply to what you're doing in the same space of how we thought about it growing up. And the first is, if we can put those slides back up again, just reading, like soaking up as much as you possibly can. I know the most and least helpful book for me was How to Potty Train Your Child in 1 Day. And I got the book and I'm like, I do not believe that this is even possible, but if it is, like if it is humanly possible, we are going to do it. And by the way, it worked with 1 of our children. And so that tricks you into thinking this actually works. And so 2, 3, 4, 5, it did not work. But the best play on child number 6 was having your oldest daughter, who is 13, potty train your youngest, who is 3. And I think I paid her like $15 to do that. She was thrilled, and I would have paid 100 times that much. So I probably shouldn't say that now. But soaking up as much as you can from what other people have done in literature. The other is parental plagiarism. So in my mind, that meant finding families who looked kind of like I wanted my little family to look. And let's be real. There are no perfect families out there. There's no cookie cutter way to do this. But there are principles that we can follow that hopefully help us get where we want to get. And so I think there's some great plagiarism that we can use today and use that as a skill rather than a demeaning kind of thing to say. And then the last thing is, we're not as weird as we think we are. So let me give an example. My 5-year-old son, first 5-year-old son, my wife looked at him and said, "You are so weird. You don't like to read. You can't sit still for 5 minutes. I'm not sure how you are going to handle anything in elementary school." So my wife goes to the elementary school and spends a couple of hours in the kindergarten and says, "Oh, you're perfectly normal. You are right where you're supposed to be, evidently." So there's just something about knowing where you fit and that there's a lot of other people in the same boat with you where you can jump in together and not feel like we are so far behind, there's nothing we can do. But to have some confidence like, hey, we're okay. We're a little bit weird and so are you. And so let's work on this thing together. So as we go here today, I want to leave just with one quick visual that I hope can give you a sense of what collaboration looks like in my mind. And hopefully you'll be able to forget about this right after I show it. But You know, you may picture that collaboration is very precise and it's just a thing of beauty, but collaboration is getting all of these disparate folks to work together, and sometimes it may not quite look exactly as you think. And I don't know if I can play this from here. This is the Gale family during COVID, trying to think how creative we can be in entertaining the universe. So if you can imagine a mom trying to get a 7-year-old up to a 19-year-old to get together for dance practice during COVID, to pick out the costume that they want to wear.
Awesome.
Which, by the way, if you're 11 and you can wear an inflatable dinosaur, that's really cool. If you're 17 and you have to wear an inflatable animal, that's a little bit of a tougher sell. But it may not be as precise, it may not be as exact, but if you can get your teams to work together in a way that is meaningful and have them actually enjoy it, and I think the people that were watching actually enjoyed it as well, I think there's something amazing that we can pull off here together today as we collaborate together. So with that, let me just say thank you. Good luck as you do this today, and let's go make it happen. And before I hand off the clicker, the magic clicker, I just want to introduce Bob. Bob is amazing. He leads our Arch collaborative effort, and he does it with incredible humility as he works with you. He literally finds it a great pleasure in all of the chances he has to work with you. And as a former executive at Intermountain, he's seen a lot of good things that have happened. He's not just sort of making this up as he goes, but he's as sincere an individual as I have ever worked with. So Bob, thank you, and good luck as you take the magic clicker.
Thank you. I can't tell you how great it is to be with all of you. It's wonderful. The energy in the room when I walked in this morning and as I saw you congregate and gather just got better and better and better. So it's awesome to be with you. Adam talked about the members of the collaborative and you know, kind of in total, and those that are here. These are the numbers that have joined us in just the last year. So since the last summit and this summit, we've had 36 members join us here in the United States, and another 4 members join us internationally. So 40 new members in this year. And if you're one of those members and you're here today, we applaud you. We're so grateful that you joined. And I was thinking, a lot of you who come here, I had a few conversations before we started, came here to learn, right? But I hope you're coming to share as well. That's the only way that we're really going to learn is sharing with each other. So if you're new or if you've been here for 5 years, please share. We also have some new vendor members and services firms, and these are some of those that have joined again since the last summit. So a lot of growth in the midst of a kind of strange, odd time that we've been talking about for years now. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to give just a little bit of an update on some of the activities of the summit of the collaborative over the last year. Here's some key statistics. I'm not going to really go through them in a lot of detail, but we had 90 organizations measure in the last year, and those organizations did everything from the main survey to pre-post surveys to total trainer quality benchmarking, all those types of surveys. So 90 of those in the last year. 191 data review calls. Those are the calls where we've had the opportunity to get on the phone with you and talk about your data, and sometimes it's with multiple groups. But a lot of conversations that we've had with you over the last year, which is a pleasure. We published 13 reports. Hopefully you get a chance to look at those and learn the kind of aggregate findings that are coming from all of you and the information that we're finding from you. 12 new case studies. We have plans to do many, many more of those this year. Now that there is more measurement happening, a lot more activity, we're going to learn from each other. And a lot of activity on our website in the Learning Center. So hopefully you're finding these very valuable resources. We intend to continue to improve them, and you'll hear a little bit more about that in a little while. We've added to our team so that we can serve you better, and we wanted to just share some of these people with you. Some of them you know very well because you work with them day in and day out, others not so much. So Dr. Amy Maniker joined our team about 4 months ago. Amy, if you want to stand up. This is Dr. Maniker. We're so excited to have her join. She's been passionate about the Arch Collaborative since probably before it started, which is hard to do that. But she loves the concepts and has espoused them to many, and so we're so glad to have her join our team. Corey Tate has also joined our team, working with a lot of our vendor members and our service firm members. He has been with Intermountain. See, I've been 7 years at KLAS, so how do I go back there? But he has been with KLAS for a lot of years, had a lot of experience working with a lot of our clients, and is going to bring his expertise and experience to our team working with vendors and service firms. We added 2 new insights directors to our team, Jennifer Gordon, Kathy McCabe. Some of you have seen them present in data review calls recently, but they've both been on our team for anywhere from 1 to about 4 or 5 months, so we're glad to have them on our team. We've added new analysts to our team, 3 new analysts, David, Amanda, and Madeline. So excited to have them on our team. And then 3 new provider success managers since the last summit, Leola, Chandler, and Catherine. So hopefully you're all getting a chance to work with them. We love working with them. They're good people. They care a lot about you and your success. We also have had a lot of help from many of you on committees. We have had 3 healthcare organization committees that have supported a lot of our efforts, who we've had conversations with about changes to our survey or pricing or any number of things where we've tried to get your feedback and understand how we can better serve you. And so these are some of the people on the committee. This is the village that we're talking about that's helping this happen. So thank you for your service. Maybe we could give these folks a round of applause. We also have a committee that's focused on the efforts of our vendors and service firms, and again, a large number of people involved there. Just about every group that is participating has somebody involved in this committee. So thank you to this group as well, and let's give them a round of applause too. So I want to just talk briefly before I get off the stage about improvement. Really what we're doing here is trying to find ways to improve and to help each other in that process. I did, as was mentioned, work for Intermountain Healthcare for about 18 years, and there is a physician who worked there for many years, Dr. Brent James, and led a lot of their quality improvement efforts, and I had the opportunity to go to his course and to hear from him many times over the years. And he espoused this reduction in variability, the concept of improving by reducing variability. And I think that rings true to what we're trying to do here. We're trying to identify areas where, in fact, the big chart we always show, right, is that you can have people on the same electronic health record, working in the same organization and having a very different experience. Why is that? And that's what we're trying to figure out. And if we can figure that out and reduce that variation, then those scores, Adam, you got to reduce the variation, are gonna, they're gonna improve. And so, I love this quote from Dr. Ware Branch, who is part of the Intermountain team, or was. I don't know if is Dr. Branch still around? Okay. Anyway, when I was there, he was there, and he is awesome. But quality improvement is a process, not an event. In part, it works by finding variation and drawing attention to it. And so that's what we're doing together, right? We're saying, we've got tremendous variation. How can we take that variation and reduce it? And then I love this quote that he's got on the screen here. Better has no limit. And as I think of that, you're not ever going to be done. I'm sorry. I mean, you may have thought, if I go to a couple of these summits and learn everything I can, we'll be done. You won't be done. But you'll be better, and then you can try to get better again, try to get better again. And the circumstance will change, so we're going to have to keep improving. I had the privilege of being part, from an administrative standpoint, of an acute coronary syndrome protocol committee, and it was doing this very concept that we're talking about. They broke down the component parts, and they tried to reduce the time between each of these component parts. And it was amazing to me to watch these clinicians who were so passionate about this. And my job was to help get resources if they needed resources, right? But ultimately, they were the ones with the brains of saying, I think we could shave a little bit of time off between the ambulance and the admission to the ER by doing this in the ambulance that we usually would wait to do in the ER. all those kinds of things that they actually looked at these variations and reduced them. And so overall, they could have a better experience for the patient. Top performers in any field focus on reducing variation. So I'm going to jump to a different field for a minute. July 24th is a kind of the, I don't know the right word. It's Utah's statehood day, kind of, or founding day. It's when people first came into the valley, July 24th, 1847. And there's a lot of things that go on, one of which is the rodeo. And I was talking to somebody earlier that said, maybe you can go to the rodeo this week, but it ended on Monday. So sorry that you missed the rodeo. But I went to the rodeo in our hometown of Lehi about a month ago. And we love going to the rodeo. This is Sawyer. She's almost as cute as Leah. I should have brought her here. But anyway, she is a lot of fun. And then this is my family surrounding here, and we go to the rodeo most every year. One of the reasons for that is that rodeo is in our blood. Now, I've never ridden. I've ridden a horse, but I'm not really into any of that kind of stuff. I have brothers who are. But my grandfather was a rodeo cowboy. This is Guy Cash. This is what's called bulldogging or steer wrestling. That was one of the things he contested in. And he was actually very good in the 20s and 30s, 1920s and 1930s, and quite successful. And, you know, as a grandson, I mean, how cool is it to have a grandpa who's, you know, a professional rodeo guy? So I loved him. He's a great man. But I got thinking when we were at this rodeo about a month ago about the processes involved in this. How many have ever seen steer wrestling? Okay, so. I mean, you got to be crazy, right? I mean, why would you ever want to come off a horse running as fast as it could, jump down on a steer with horns? I mean, the goal is that they have to have horns, or you can't wrestle them, or it's a lot harder. And then, you know, wrestle them to the ground and make sure they stay down for a few seconds. So it's amazing. And they have a partner in this that they call a hazer, I believe it is, who, when they come out of the chute, the hazer is to keep the steer from veering off in the wrong direction so that you can make sure you get off your horse. And the fastest times are less than 3 seconds. To me, that is amazing. And if you break the barrier, if you come out of the gate too quickly, you have I think it's a 5-second penalty. It might be a 10-second penalty. So you cannot come out early. So do you think they're breaking down the parts here? They absolutely are. They're making sure that they do not come out of that gate early, but they come out as fast as they possibly can. You can't wait either, or you're gonna miss on a 3-second target. Well, the night we were there, somebody's best score was 4 seconds. Right? It was pretty amazing. And then that hazer's got to keep that steer in there, and you can practice that and practice that and practice that. Practice how quickly you get off your horse, how quickly you turn the head, all those kinds of things. So there's a lot of component parts to this. One of the things I like about this story too is I looked at this picture and just watch this. I think I look a little like him. So we did this as well. So that's the look. So anyway, I think top performers in any industry, right? And we're talking about healthcare IT. They work on reducing variation. So we're talking more and more about how we can help you get the information you need to help reduce variation. And one thing we've been talking a lot about with many of you, probably haven't gotten to all of you yet, is this that we call the EHR House of Success. And there's a foundation, there's variation in each of these components, right? So if you can kind of work on reducing the variation in each of these component parts, then that's one way to get to a better roof, right? To have this net EHR experience score go up. If you ignore any one of these, there's a likelihood that you're not going to be as successful as you possibly could. Now, you can't do them all at once. You've got to kind of identify the most important variants and focus there. So we have things that we've talked about with many of you, reliability and response time. That's kind of foundational. If we don't have those things to where people are feeling comfortable and confident, then frankly, all the training in the world we do may not make enough of a difference, right? It'll make a difference, but maybe not enough. So you work on the foundational things, you work on the pillars that we have talked so much about over the last 5 years, and you can help build this roof that's strong and sturdy and is going to last. So we're continually trying to find ways that we can improve. We need your input on that. Hopefully we'll get some of that here today. We can certainly take it over the course of time. but make sure you're letting us know how we can better provide you tools and information and insights and collaboration so that you can improve. So that's what we're all about here today, and we're going to talk a bit more now with Connor and Jenna about some of the things that we're doing and planning to do to help you in that effort. Connor oversees all of our efforts working with healthcare organizations, and Jenna does everything. Coordinate. She does do a lot of things. Coordinate our efforts with vendors and services firms. So thank you, you two, and we'll turn it over to you.
I put in new floors in my house it was actually a year ago. But I remember it like it was a couple weeks ago because it was terrible. I did it myself, and I learned something very quick, that measuring is vitally important. And even when you think you've measured well, you haven't. There are still some like 1/8 of an inch gaps that probably only I see, but I see them every time I walk past that floor, right? So today we're talking about measurement, a couple of common measurements that we care about in our lives. Length of object when you're measuring flooring, really important. Measuring height on a pantry door, something that my family did, and I think a lot of families did, kind of some nostalgia there. Some of us stopped growing earlier than others, but it can be painful when you don't see any change either. My daughter is 4, and she hasn't grown in like 6 months, and she wants to go on a roller coaster so bad, but she can't. She's like 1/2 inch too short. She'll get there one day. Blood pressure, sports wins and losses, growth curves, standardized testing, cooking and baking ingredients. I'm pretty good at measuring baking ingredients, not very good at measuring salt. I put too much salt in all my food. So, but we're here to talk about EHR satisfaction today. That is the measurement we're talking about today. But honestly, measurement without a comparison is kind of bland. So when we first started the collaborative, one of the first organizations to participate got their results back. It was about a 60, and the question was, what does that mean? And we're like, I don't know. Seems good. And it turns out it was really good. But without that comparison, it's hard to know what the measurement means. And so just to remind everyone of the different measurement options that are available to you as members of the collaborative, the EHR Experience Survey is the full survey that you send out to all of your clinicians. In partnership with that, we do the executive survey where we have you fill out the organization perspective. This is usually the CMIO and CNIO. We have pre-post surveys that are meant for targeted initiatives. If you're implementing a new training program, if you're starting a new workflow, if you're changing your governance process and you want to test it out before you make a widespread change, the pre-post surveys are for that. Pulse surveys are similar to the EHR Experience Survey. We typically use these mergers and acquisitions. You bring on someone new, you're going to turn on a new go live with a new vendor. Those are the pulse surveys. And then the trainer quality benchmark is measuring the quality of your trainers. It's sent out by the trainers themselves. But again, without a comparison, having this information is helpful, but it doesn't tell you where you stand. We are experts at measuring, and you are experts at measuring. This is our growth chart over time. The number of surveys that we've collected since the existence of the collaborative, since its birth. We crossed the 300,000 mark this past year. So thank you all for your feedback. Thank you for having the bravery to send out this survey. The Arch Collaborative cannot only be a measuring stick. Measuring is vitally important. We have to understand where we are. We have to understand where we compare to others. But if we don't do something about that, then we're not really improving. We're not reducing that variation. So here are the things that we offer as part of the collaborative to all of you, things that we want you to take advantage of to be able to help improve. We have personalized action plans that we build with you after we do a data review call. We have case studies from high-performing organizations. We have reports. We have webinars. This summit, there's a LinkedIn group, if you haven't joined that, where you can ask questions to collaborative members, kind of in a forum-type environment. You can make a post. People can comment on that.
Hey, Connor, if folks want to join the LinkedIn group, how do they do that?
Great question. You can search Arch Collaborative on LinkedIn, and it'll pull up a group. You're able to request to join. It is for members only, so we have kind of a security check It's me. I'm the security check.
It's really scary.
I know. But I just make sure that you're a member of the collaborative before we let people join that group. We want to make sure that this is a benefit for those of you that are participating in this. But it's an awesome resource. We're trying to get more participation in there. We've had a few people kind of send some questions out, but we'd like to make it more aware so that people can use it. So we do not want to only be a measuring stick. We want to be your partner in helping you with process improvement. So one of the methodologies, there are lots of methodologies out there, but one that we like is the PDCA, the Plan, Do, Check, Act. We want to help you make plans. We want to kind of inform you of the things that need to be improved. We want to identify the things that you can do better. We want to check on the progress of those, and we want to help you act and ultimately improve the EHR satisfaction for your clinicians. So how do we see ourselves doing that? Well, in the planning stage, we have the initial measurement, the benchmarking. That gives you the information you need. We also want to provide the content that lets you know what others are doing, what's working well at other places. So our case studies. This summit is a great example of taking feedback and expanding what other people are doing and taking it to your own organization. During the doing, we want to help put together an action plan. We want to set goals with you. Where do you want to be with your quality care? How efficient do you want to be? Do you want to improve your chart closure rates? We want to reduce our burnout. Whatever goals you've identified from looking at the data, we want to help support you in those goals. We want to be able to check your progress. We do this with our trainer quality benchmark, the pre-post surveys, the pulse surveys, remeasurement. And then this is really a cycle. You act, you get results, you make a new plan, you do again. It's really about reducing that variation, improving over time. So today, this summit, there are 235 people who have registered to attend this summit. If you look around, it is standing room only. I mean, we have people standing in the back. I'm sorry. There are 8 seats up here in the front if you would like to come.
If you want to come hang out with us.
This is the biggest event we have had. We are so excited for each of you that you have made the time to come here and to learn. Again, 20 vendors and service firms, 64 healthcare organizations are here today. So the goal, leave today, make a new connection, talk about what is being done. We want to collaborate. The name of the collaborative was intentional. It's not some cute term that we just thought, oh, this is a nice name for this product. No, we want to collaborate. We want everyone to get involved to make this problem better because nobody's figured it out. And so we all need to work together to do this. Then we need to put together a plan. We will have time at the end of this summit. There's going to be a lot of learning opportunities, a lot of networking opportunities. But at the end of the summit, we're going to invite people to get back together as their teams and put together a skeleton of a plan to bring back to your organization and say, this is what we want to try. How can we do this? And then lastly, improve and measure again. We want each of you to continue to measure the satisfaction of your users. Circumstances change. Staff changes. Turnover is a huge issue. You have 20% of your organizations now who haven't used your EHR before this year and are using it now. And so continue to measure, continue to learn. Things that we are doing to help improve and to help make this better. We are adopting a new analytics tool to help us to give you deeper insights, a new database structure to give faster insights, a new website designed to give you more accessible insights. And if we're actually in the feedback gathering stage of that right now. So Stone is here somewhere. I don't know where Stone is. Hi, Stone. Stone's our UX person. He'll be reaching out, and he's trying to get your feedback to understand what we can do for the website. So if you have any feedback on how we can make it more impactful for you, please let us know. And then last, we're improving our action planning to give more actionable insights. We want to make sure that the feedback we are giving you is actionable, that you have ideas, that you have concepts that you can take and apply. We want to help you measure the success of those. We want to help you get buy-in from your organizations to be able to expand those programs. So ultimately, this really is a cycle. This isn't a start and end point. This is a cyclical nature, a cyclical project that we are engaged in. So continue to measure. That's my piece. This is Jenna. Jenna's also awesome. So.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Sounds good? Okay, cool. All right. So Connor talked about the importance of measurement, and that's really kind of the beginning of the collaborative. If you're in this room, you're likely familiar with their 3 pillars, so how critical initial and ongoing training is, how important it is to personalize the EHR, and also create a shared ownership experience where your clinicians feel like they have a seat at the table, they have a voice, fixes are timely when they need them, and then also just all feedback generally is being received. Maybe going forward? Okay, great. Can you see the slides? Can you guys show these for me? Thank you. Okay, so one thing I just wanted to point out, so the first kind of key finding that we found the collaborative was really this ownership of the health system and individual user, of how much weight and responsibility that you guys had of kind of your EHR destiny and how happy your clinicians could feel. It's been funny because in a lot of ways, this is really motivating for health systems. We share your results back on your data review calls, and we say, you guys can change this. This isn't all up to the technology. Your EHR vendors are doing what they can, but you have so much responsibility of how your users are feeling about the technology. And I think in a lot of ways, that's really motivating. At the same time, I have heard organizations say it feels like this. They say, really? This is us? We own what happens for our EHR users and how this can feel. So one of the things that, as Bob was talking about reducing variability, we want to talk about how we at KLAS have been trying to foster better collaboration with you as a health system and your vendor partners. And one way that we've been doing that is through data sharing agreements. Can I get a show of hands? Does anyone know what a data sharing agreement is, and if you have signed one in your organization?
Oh, I haven't signed one.
Okay, there's a few hands. Okay, great. So these data sharing agreements, we have 130 health systems that have opted to sign one so far to date, and these have led to 80 data review sessions with vendors and consulting firms. And what's so cool is that these data sharing agreements actually grant KLAS permission to share your org-specific results with your identified vendor partners. If you're on Epic, we can share your results with Epic. If you're on Cerner, we can share your results with Cerner and have really meaningful calls about your results specifically. And these have been so fun because it allows your vendor partners to celebrate successes that maybe they didn't know were existing and then share that with other customers. It also allows them to identify maybe what are some quick fixes that maybe they could go help with. It's also allowed us to match user efficiency data, so actually taking your ARCH results with your satisfaction and then matching it with Epic, Signal, or Cerner Advanced, and actually be able to see if there's any correlations between what the user is actually doing in the system and how happy they are using the system. It's also allowed the vendors to identify underutilized resources. Are there things that are free that are part of your relationship with your vendor that maybe your clinicians are not fully utilizing, and it's giving them an opportunity to bring those resources to light. So I just want to say, if you haven't signed a data sharing agreement in your healthcare organization in a room, I ask you to think about other ways that KLAS can help foster kind of deeper collaboration with your vendors. You're certainly welcome to share your results or not. They're yours. They'll never be shared kind of without your consent. And you're also welcome to share them on your own without KLAS involved. But this is something we want to help take off your plate if it's something that we can do and help foster better collaboration.
And if you're unsure if you've signed one or not, feel free to reach out to your account manager. We track all of this. So if you have a question or if you'd like to share, reach out to us, and we're happy to make that happen.
Thanks, Connor. So a couple other things we've worked on this past year. For the new members of the collaborative, you guys have seen some of these materials. We've updated the welcome packet for health systems when you join to talk through some of the ways that you can actually collaborate with your vendor partners. There's a vendor community, so you can actually see which vendors and services firms are participating. Almost all of you are in the audience today. We talk a little bit about data sharing agreements. We've also focused on publishing some reports around vendor initiatives and what modules or tools or programs are really making a difference on clinician satisfaction. Also wanted to just make sure you guys were aware of this badge. We've encouraged all of our members to utilize this badge to kind of, this is sort of the stamp of approval that they get as being a part of the collaborative and have the opportunity to join us today. So if you see this badge, your vendors and services firms are participating in the collaborative. This group is awesome because they take this data seriously and are here to solve these problems with you. So keep an eye out for this badge. We've also partnered closely with Athena Health, Cerner, and Epic. This really the goal of the EHR vendor resources we put together was we've had a lot of health systems come in and measure. They get their results. We tell them, big opportunity for training, big opportunity for creating better shared ownership. And then a lot of times organizations ask us and say, who's done this well? And we can give some input. We have tons of case studies and reports that Bob and Connor talked about. But we also know that your EHR vendors also have resources that can help you. So we've worked through these documents with the EHR vendors and put together details around, what do they have available that can help you if you're having system performance issues? What education or e-learning platforms are available that you can maybe leverage with your clinicians? Lastly, I was going to say, if you're meeting with your EHR vendors tomorrow during the faculty networking session, we have hard copies of these resources, so you'll be getting those. And if you'd like a soft copy, your provider success manager is happy to share them. We want you guys to have access to these and know what's available. One other thing that we've been focusing on since the last summit is actually publishing some vendor and firm focus case studies. So these, I'm just going to highlight 3 real quick for you guys to see kind of what this partnership ultimately looks like. Baptist Health and Divergent, they worked really closely together to put together some e-learning materials as the pandemic was underway. And they needed to do work to make sure the training was still happening in a virtual environment. And so this case study walks through the success that they found. UW Health partnered with Acuity Solutions to leverage their virtual scribes. I think it was 88% of the physicians that were using a virtual scribe recommended it. Their after-hours charting went down, and just general burnout went down as well. And then lastly, Baylor Scott & White and UPerform, they partnered together to use UPerform's education platform. And this was, if I have the numbers correct, anyways, I think it was about 12 points higher for ongoing satisfaction, and the overall net EHR experience score for UPerform users was 13 points higher. So their technology was really, really helping users get access to the trainings that they needed in the workflow, and Baylor Scott & White saw a lot of success. This is my hype slide for what's to come the next 2 days. These are 7 sessions that are going to happen today and tomorrow. It's really highlighting this partnership where health systems and vendors and service partners are working together to use the collaborative as a tool to improve EHR satisfaction and really doing it together. So you can see some of the sessions, if you guys can see this okay. Honor Health and Medics will be presenting. 3M and May will be presenting in the morning. Those are a few. But I really just want to encourage you, if you haven't taken the time to sign a data sharing agreement or think about ways that KLAS can help foster deeper collaboration with your vendor partners, these are some really great examples of what we want to highlight in this partnership. And then just lastly, I'll wrap up. We're just at time here. What's coming? One of the key things that we're hoping to focus on this next year is, beyond giving, here's what other health systems have done to overcome some challenges around EHR education or creating an effective governance structure. We also want to tell you what software and what tools are really making the impact that we hope that they are. So over this next year, we're planning to publish vendor and firm-focused ARCH reports that will be highlighting, what modules in Epic or Cerner and Athena Health are really making a difference. What EHR education vendors are out there that are actually moving the needle. What documentation offerings are out there that's actually helping clinicians close charts in a timely manner. So these are a couple of the things that we'll be working on this next year, and really hope that these resources are valuable to you. And yeah, something we haven't offered before, so thanks. What's standing between me and the fun part? I gotta go.
So what was standing between her and the fun part was me. We just have some housekeeping items, just want to make everyone aware of kind of some of the things that we'll be doing. Everyone has a lanyard. I don't have mine on. Where is it? Here it is. I was asked to take it off I was going to rub the mic. So we have a color scheme. If you have a blue lanyard, it means you're from a healthcare organization. If you have an orange one, it means you're from a vendor or service firm. If you have a black one, it means you're from KLAS. So if you're looking for a KLAS person to ask a question and you want to find a room, look for a black lanyard. If you're looking to connect with another healthcare organization, look for blue. If you're looking to connect with a vendor, look for orange. We are a feedback company, and we want to make sure that we gather your feedback today as well. So you'll see QR codes throughout the event on the tables, in the agenda. We want you to just pull your phones out, scan it. You'll be able to give feedback throughout the entire event. You don't need to wait till the end of the event to give feedback. So please give us feedback. We have made changes to this event based on feedback from previous years. These lanyards is one example. Checking in the night before was another example. Extending the networking time is another example. So Please give us your feedback. We want to make sure this event is as impactful as it can be. The slide decks and presentations that we'll see today, the slides are up in the app. So if you haven't downloaded the app, please do that. You'll be able to access the slides there. We will also be posting them in our Learning Center in a couple of weeks, making sure that the audio recording is clear and accessible and that people can. So if you want to share this with other people at your organization that weren't able to come today, the content will be made available to them. You can share it with them. And then last, but maybe most important, the Wi-Fi information is on your table. It's also here if you haven't logged in. The username is KLAS Research. The password is ArchCollab 2022. The preview. We have lots of content. Time is up, so I won't give you any details on it. But look at your agenda. Go to the sessions that sound most interesting to you. It's all on the first floor right now. So we'll have breakout sessions. We'll have panels. We'll have networking time. We'll have working sessions to kind of work together and plan. We'll have meals for you because we all like to eat. So thank you so much for being here today. I will let you go. We have a 10-minute. Oh, one more. Sorry. Thank you, Alan. These are the next sessions. So they start at 9. Make your way to these rooms. We're excited to. So, yeah, they're all on this first floor. Yep. We'll use the upstairs later, but right now these are all on the first floor. And that's it. Break. Thanks, everyone.